Next, I would like to invite here on the podium Mr. Rajender Singh Lahauria, Director, Indian Aviation Academy. Can we have a big round of applause?
Good morning to all of you. And sitting on the dais, Chairman, Aviation Group, Mr. Andy Kotwani. Managing Director, Aviation Group, Mr. Vaibhav Varun. And CEO, Aircraft Academy France, Mr. Armel Jacquel. Dignitaries from Indigo, Mr. Ravi Bajaj, Colonel Kuber, Mr. Els Pulapakya, CEO National Solar Energy Federation of India, Mrs. Shaili Mehra from Griha Council, Dr. Yogbala Kapil from GL Bajaj Institute of Management, Mr. Milind Davade from GE Aerospace, and my fellow colleague from Indian Aviation Academy. Students from various institutes, I welcome all of you to this Global Sustainable Aviation Conclave Chapter 2. To begin with, I would like to proudly say that India has become the third largest aviation growing industry in the domestic sector in the whole world. Number of operational airports in India has doubled in the last 10 years. From 74, it has reached to 157. And 200 additional airports are going to come up in the next 20 to 25 years. About 800 aircraft are registered with the DGCA, commercial aircraft, that is apart from private airports now. And they are flying in all the airports in India. This is apart from whatever the international airports which are landing, taking off, as well as the private airports. And in addition to that, I don't know how many are aware of that, there are thousands of aircraft which are just utilizing the Indian airspace. They are overflying. They are not landing. I remember a decade back when I was a radar controller in Calcutta ATC, there was about 800 aircraft which was flying from east to west, 3-corridor route in the span of 24 hours. So today, those things has doubled. So it must be around 1600 or more than that. So with the exponential growth in the next 10 years, India will be requiring about 2000 more aircraft. So those who are young people, those who are sitting here, they can think about their career in aviation for the future to come. So considering the existing air traffic, both operating in Indian airports as well as overflying Indian airspace, you can imagine the amount of carbon footprints they leave in the air. So it is high time we have to think about how to get clean, sustainable environment for our future generation. Lots of steps have been taken by all the aviation stakeholders for carbon emission reduction and the carbon offsetting. Stakeholder can be from the ground or of the air. It can be airport operator. It can be air traffic control. It can be the flight operation, the flyers. It can be the aircraft manufacturer. And more importantly, it can be the oil companies who can contribute to that one. And India has already taken a lot of steps actually in carbon offsetting and reduction scheme. Out of 157 airports, 77 airports in India runs on solar energy with 90% self-sufficiency. But still, lot of procedure and SOPs are required to be developed by the airport operator to reduce carbon emission at the production unit of that power. It can be thermal power station or it can be the DG set which is there available at the airport. Why I am telling? I have seen personally in many of the airports, even in clear visibility, both the circuit of the runway lights are on, whereas requirement is only one circuit, which is about say 60 meters apart, the runway lights and all. I have seen in many of the airports, CAT 2 approach lights, runway center line lights are on, even when in a clear visibility. It is simply wastage of energy. On the other hand, it is giving more pressure on the DG set. It is more pressure on the unit which is producing the electricity. That leads to the more carbon emission. In some of the airports, I have seen, even you also must have observed when you are traveling in the aircraft, in clear visibility when the aircraft is taxiing, you will be in the taxiway central line lights, green lights are on, which is desired only in case of low visibility, when the aircraft cannot see the taxiway central line marking. So those times these lights are required. In the clear visibility, these lights are not desirable. So in my view, I think there is a lot of things to be done by the airport operator, or in my view, even if the regulatory authority, those who normally come for inspection, they make some frame that when these lights will be switched on or switch off, we can save a lot of energy. On the contrary, we can reduce the carbon emission. And in the air, we continuously work to reduce carbon emission by allotting economical level. Those are flying, those are flight engineers, those are, I don't know whether they are aware of or not. About 3 decades back, there was no en route radar. So we gave a time separation between the two aircraft. That was 10 minutes separation. That means two aircraft, if they want to maintain the same flight level, they have to be 10 minutes apart in the air. That means other aircraft will get uneconomical level. Either they will fly low or they will fly high. By virtue of that, they will be consuming more fuel, more carbon emission. Not only that, in the terminal approach radar, terminal approach unit, when there was no radar, there used to be procedural approach. That means until the first aircraft is reported to have been touched down, other aircraft he cannot commence approach. He cannot leave 2000 feet or more. So for that second aircraft to land at the aerodrome, there was a span of about 7 to 8 minutes. So you can imagine if 3 or 4 aircrafts are holding at the airport, some 2000 feet, 3000 feet, 4000 feet, 5000 feet, 6000 feet, how much carbon emission they are giving in that airspace itself. But I am very thankful to our organization, the Government of India. We have established a very robust communication, navigation and surveillance system. So now, those aircraft second aircraft which is taking about 7 to 8 minutes for the second aircraft to land, now those timing has reduced to just even 1 minute or even less than that. It has reduced to hardly we give separation of 5 nautical miles. Or one aircraft touching down, other aircraft coming and touching down. So you can imagine how much we are saving the fuel and how much we are reducing the carbon emission out of that one. So this is the steps which is being taken by the Government of India, that is we are the service provider, the Airport Authority of India. We have been doing all these steps through the Government of India. And previously, in the en route scene, when the two aircraft was 10 minutes apart, that means approximately equal to 80 nautical miles. Now, with the state-of-art radar, those 80 nautical miles have been reduced to 10 nautical miles. During those times, I remember about maybe 25 or 30 years back, one aircraft departed from Dhaka, overflying Calcutta airspace and this Bombay airspace and going towards west towards Heathrow, London. He departed and aircraft requested flight level probably 330. The controller said for the flight level is only 240, 24,000 feet. There was a lot of argument. They started shouting. Pilot was telling, I will not be able to reach London with this flight level 240. So those were the days actually. But now, with the radar system, we are allotting 10 nautical miles separation, and almost all the aircraft you will get, they are getting the economical level, their desired flight level. So the carbon emission we have reduced drastically by introduction of robust radar system, the robust communication system, and of course the navigation system which are going to come up. And even this 10 nautical miles separation, if you are coming to the proximity of the airport, within 60 miles of the airport, this is reduced further to 5 nautical miles. So you can imagine, means we have contributed so much, not only saving the fuel, but reducing the carbon emission in the air. So this is what we are doing. Then we have got some other projects also we have introduced. That the method of giving a direct routing. There was a time when we have established air routes based on the ground-based navigation aids. That's VOR. Aircraft go, if they are flying from Calcutta to Delhi, say, they will take up from Calcutta, they will go to, say, that Gaya VOR, then Patna VOR, then Lucknow VOR, ultimately coming to Delhi VOR. That is a ground-based navigation aids. Now with the help of radar, we are giving direct routing. So number one, there is a lot of reduction in the fuel consumption. On the other hand, reduction in the carbon emission. So those are the steps we are taking in the air. But this direct routing has to be taken with due care and diligence. There are instances I remember when I was at the airport, at Patna airport. So one aircraft departed from Hyderabad to Patna. If the aircraft followed the normal conventional route, it would have taken about maybe 2 hours or something. The radar controller in Hyderabad, he gave a direct routing. This aircraft reached over at Patna airport half an hour, 25 minutes before. But at the Patna airport, it is a very, very constrained airport. There was only 4 parking bay. Now there is no parking bay available, single runway. So that aircraft has to hold for 25 minutes over at Patna at low level. So things have become just opposite. In low level, flying in the low level means more carbon emission. So whenever we are doing this type of thing, it has to be done with due care and diligence. For that purpose also, the Airport Authority of the Government of India, we have introduced a concept of air traffic flow management. If you would have come by this side, by the road, by the right side you would have seen one big building. It is written air traffic flow management. So in that what we are doing, in some of the airport, from where the aircraft is supposed to go to some airports, where the constraints are there, where the aircraft is likely to get delayed due to sequence in landing. So these people, they intimate the airport to release the aircraft at particular time, so that in the arriving aircraft there is no holding. So the aircraft, so that is why nowadays those who have been frequent flyer over Indian airspace, especially in Delhi and busy airport. Previously, about 10 years back, you would have been hearing the pilot is telling that I am holding over Delhi or maybe over Amritsar or maybe over Lucknow due to congestion. They don't use the word ATC because again that is part. But nowadays you will rarely hear this word. Aircraft take off and subsequently land at the destination. Because the takeoff timing is made in such a way that when you come at the destination airport, you will not have to require to be hold. In that way, we are contributing not only fuel saving, we are contributing towards the reduction of the carbon emission. Same way, we have used recently we have used a new concept, what is called the performance-based navigation, PBN, standard arrival and standard departure routes. That software is installed in almost all the aircraft, commercial aircraft. So there is a standard arrival routes, there is a standard departure routes. So by using those routes, there is a lot of reduction of the fuel. and they come very comfortably. There is no conflict between two aircrafts. So these are the things we are taking steps towards the reduction of the carbon emission. Then almost for the last 10 years, we have very good coordination with the military people, defense people. There are certain airspace which belongs to the defense people for their exercise. But recently we have, not recently, but 10 years which I was telling you, we have used the concept of flexible use of airspace, FUA. So whenever the defense people, they are not using their airspace, we are utilizing those airspace. That means by virtue of that, aircraft which are supposed to give a longer route, they take a shortcut overflying the defense airspace, and by virtue of that, there is a lot of reduction in the fuel consumption, which contribute a lot to this reduction in the carbon emission. So, and another concept which you are giving, this is called the CCO and CDO, continuous climb operation and continuous descent operation. Formerly, we used to give step descent. Okay, aircraft is coming from, say, Calcutta to Delhi. Say descent to initiate flight level 150, aircraft maintain 150. Descent to flight level 70, descending to flight level 70. Descent to flight level 55, descent to 3000 feet, descent to 4000 feet, and like that. By giving that step descent, that is a brake. If you put a brake, even while driving also, if there is a lot of traffic lights, naturally your fuel consumption is much more. So we have made a continuous descent operation. By virtue of that, if the aircraft is coming on the arrival routes, and once he is number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in the sequence, he is getting the continuous descent profile. So by virtue of that also, there is a lot of reduction in the carbon emission. And in the same way, we have introduced the continuous climb operation, that is called continuous climb operation. So there also, if the aircraft is, once it is departed, and whatever desired level that aircraft is having based on the distance is supposed to fly, and of course the type of aircraft, whether it's a flight level 310, 330, 340, 350, we allot a level and the aircraft gets the continuous climb. Again, there is a lot of reduction in the fuel consumption and there is a reduction in the carbon emission. So these are the things. Not only that, many times there is an argument between the pilot and the ground. Aircraft is asking startup clearance. The tower control is telling a startup not approved due to traffic. The reason is that the controller doesn't want that aircraft should simply hold in the taxiway and consume the fuel. He wants, once the startup is given, or a pushback is there, if pushback is not there, if there is power out, the aircraft starts, and straight away go to the holding point, and by the time he is reaching the holding point, his sequence come to enter the runway and take off. Up to that extent we are thinking about reduction of the carbon emission. So this is the way we are working as far as our organization, Government of India, Airport Authority of India, Air Traffic Control, CNS, all this part which we are doing. But that was my field. I am not aware how much manufacturing company, those who are manufacturing the aircraft, how much research they are doing, how much they are doing changes in the design of the aircraft, design of the engine, so that consumption of fuel is to minimize. So those things probably I'll be able to learn more from this enclave, all this fact. At the same time, I would like to know from the oil companies whether they are working on the production of the sustainable aviation fuel, or is called SAF, and whether it's a cost effective to the airlines or not. If SAF is costly, naturally airlines may not prefer to go for SAF, sustainable aviation fuel. I have heard that if you use the SAF, it can reduce the carbon emission almost up to 80%. Or in the future they say it can go to 100% also. That's a very, very very big thing. But what will be the cost of that SAF? And whether airlines will be able to afford the SAF or not. So probably this I very happy to hear about from the companies, those oil companies, what is their view about this one, and whether they are actually working on that. And of course, then depends on the government also how much taxation they are doing. Already ATF, some of the state, I mean the taxation is very less. The people go to that state of that one, and they get the refuel from that state and then come back. So same way, how much government is going to help up in reduction of the taxes which is in the ATF. So those things is very important thing for reduction of the carbon emission. And I am very sure that in this conclave, lot of brainstorming will done towards achieving the sustainable aviation. I am very thankful to the Aviation, which is called the home of aviation, for organizing such conclave. And I am hopeful that all of us will benefit from this conclave. And thank you very much.